And let's be honest, the worst crisis can become an opportunity. So we do see this as an opportunity for a great reset, for better, greener, more human and humane lifestyles for all citizens and businesses. We do mean that sustainable future is not just about reaching beautiful visible objectives. It is really indeed about building these circular, inclusive and resilient economies on the ground in all territories, in urban and rural areas in the EU, but also globally. We already have many good examples, and cities and regions really are front runners in turning these ambitious objectives into reality, but we still have a lot of challenges. In the European Union, we will keep supporting our cities and our different the territories, also rural areas, of course, through the cohesion policy. We are currently programming the next 7 years of our investment programs, and their important part or 8% of, for example, of the regional development fund will be earmarked to support sustainable urban development. We are also launching now the Recovery and Resilience Facility, which will also help to shape the right policy measures for the post-pandemic world and invest in the next generation to carry out the green and digital transitions that we are talking about. As the president of the Commission has said, this is a make or break decade. So we need to make sure that the future is green and healthy for all citizens, but that also requires effort at all levels of our societies. In the European Union, cities, of course, represent more than 70% of the population, and they also account for most of our greenhouse gas emissions. And this is why supporting cities in this way towards climate neutrality, protection of biodiversity, greening is very, very important. The European Green Deal sets the EU on the path to a climate neutral society by 2050. But to achieve it, we need to mobilize actors on the ground, involve local authorities, all stakeholders, all citizens in the planning processes and implementation of different strategies, projects across European cities and regions. We can be proud that so many cities in Europe and in the world have high ambitions in clean mobility, energy transition, and adaptation to climate change. But cities are complex, integrated systems, and that translates into the need to ignite this profound transformation in many sectors simultaneously. And not to mention, for example, the areas of energy, mobility, land use, construction and renovation, circular economy, production and consumption. To add to that, all these transformation efforts need to be managed in a socially fair way, in a way that nobody, no city, no territory, no citizen, no person is left behind in this transformation process. Not all the cities face the same challenges, but they are also at a different level in terms of their capacities and skills to go through this transition. And therefore, of course, we need to support them in a different ways. Let's just say we also believe that the efforts at the EU level contribute very much to reaching the sustainable development goals and contributing to the new global urban agenda, new urban agenda under the auspices of the United Nations. This program is key to fostering our international partnerships between cities in the European Union and in the world. And we had 168 cities and towns cooperating under this program, and we hope that many more will join this program. For us, it is very important that we work together with our international partners everywhere, and that we find the common ways of sharing the knowledge that we all have in finding different solutions for the challenges and problems that we are all facing. And then sharing that knowledge with each other helps us to really achieve something concrete on the ground. We will be launching many new initiatives for our cities in the EU. We hope to share them with you. Just to say that under the cohesion policy, we will launch very soon the European Urban Initiative to support the capacity building and skills in the cities, but also to fund innovative projects with concrete solutions in the urban areas. We will launch also the cities mission under the Horizon Europe program, which will work with 100 cities in the European Union in a bottom-up approach to define the priorities for those cities to become climate neutral. And there, of course, we will follow supporting this mission, cities mission as well from our investment programs. But finally, I also want to mention the new European Bauhaus initiative. It is important to make sure that whenever we renovate, whenever we do some projects in the urban regeneration and also in different projects in rural areas where we really embrace the Bauhaus principle, that is a concept which embraces the principles of Green Deal, digital transition, urban regeneration, aesthetics, architecture, and of course, social inclusion. So we will be launching a lot of support to promote this concept in the EU, but we also hope that our international partners will be interested in working with European cities under the Bauhaus initiative and all the initiatives that I have mentioned. And certainly we see that this program, the IURC, is key in sharing that knowledge and in promoting these different initiatives and just finding together concrete solutions and funding these joint cooperation projects in those priority areas that also thematically are defined under our new program. With all this, I would like to say again, thank you to all for joining this event, but particularly for working within this program, to all the cities around the world and in Europe who are part of this program. We believe in the European Commission that this new program again will be a success story, and we will be there to make sure that we help you to make this program a big success. And thanks a lot and good luck, and also have a nice event today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Norman Poppins. Fantastic message. We're all on board here. We're all invited to be part of this change that, as you said, really has to be here and has to be now. So I'm excited to see that implemented on the local level through IURC. Thank you. I hope you'll stick around. We're now going to move towards Stefan Schloning. He's the head of unit for industrialized countries and foreign policy support at the Foreign Policy Instrument of the European Commission. And we're really so excited to have him here today. So thank you, Stefan.
Thank you, Anthony. Good morning. Unfortunately, there seems to be a problem with the video now. Or can you see me?
Yes, we see you.
Okay. Very good. Well, then, good morning, colleagues, friends. I'm very happy to be with you, well, this morning, this afternoon, rather, for most of you to open this event together with Normans. I'm from the Service for Foreign Policy Instruments, FPI. As you know, we are implementing this important program, the IURC program, together in close partnership with our colleagues from DG Regio, the DG for Regional and Urban Policy. This is the first annual event organized in the IURC program, the current phase, and we very much look forward to continuing our common journey, build on the successes already achieved, and take this program forward. A few words at the beginning, on the Service for Foreign Policy Instruments here in Brussels. Our main goal, our mission is to put EU foreign policy into action in a policy-driven and integrated way. And by doing so, we aim to contribute to building stronger international alliances and partnerships, promote cooperation and challenges of global concern on a peer-to-peer basis. And I think the IURC program is really a prime example of that policy, that approach, that philosophy working in practice. By doing so, we help projecting, implementing the external dimension of EU internal policies based, of course, on the 2030 agenda and the sustainable development goals. We have been jointly successful in that approach before, in the first phase of the program under the EU's partnership instrument. We worked together under the 2014-2020 budget, and we are very much looking forward now to continue in this under the new EU external funding instrument, the Global Europe program. In the first month following the start of the program, I think you have all been very actively engaged in the setup of the new program, the formation of new city and regional partnerships. And we would really like to thank you for the enthusiasm and dedication and efforts in the beginning of this journey, which we will continue together in the coming 3 years. We meet again virtually in the light of the challenging circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic, but I'm sure we are united in our wish and hope that we can meet again in person, physically in Brussels next year for the next annual event, once it is again safe for all of us to travel and meet in person. Now, a few words on our common objectives under the IURC program. Climate change and unmanaged urbanization negatively impact life quality for many of our citizens. Cities account for about 70% of the world's energy-related greenhouse gas emissions. And as the world continues to urbanize, sustainable development increasingly depends on the successful management of urban growth and meeting the demands of the growing urban populations in terms of energy demand, but also in terms of housing, transportation, other infrastructure, as well as for employment opportunities, healthcare, and education. But while cities are certainly part of the challenges, they are also part of the solution. Often, very often, cities are front runners when it comes to energy transition, adaptation to climate change, and new innovative ways in terms of urban development and innovative solutions. As the European Union, we believe that we can do even more when we support close collaboration between cities, partnering with other levels of government at local, regional, central level, but also with the private sector. Local and regional authorities tend to focus on practical solutions, on solutions that have a real and direct impact on people's lives. And that is what we are proud to support under the IURC program. Cities set carbon reduction targets and implement changes that are necessary forces propelling the world towards reaching the goals, the essential goals outlined in the Paris Agreement. And mayors have been and are a major power in their localities in the fight against climate change. And all of that is precisely why the International Urban and Regional Cooperation Program is so important to us. It does represent a constructive and mutual effort to promote decentralized cooperation between regions and cities, both inside and outside the European Union. And it is all geared towards the delivery of the Sustainable Development Goals, the effective implementation of the new urban agenda, the Paris Agreement, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and last but certainly not least, the European Green Deal. The program is an important part of our overall EU actions and efforts to support cities around the globe. And with our joint efforts, the objective is to help cities plan and implement local action to promote exchanges and joint working on sustainable urban development and innovation. As you have already heard earlier today, the first phase of the program has proven to be a successful tool to bring cities and regions around the world together, to highlight shared interests and exchange on solutions. We've had more than 80 city pairings realized between cities from 20 different EU member states and 11 other countries across the world, from Latin America and the Caribbean, North America, East and South Asia, that all face similar challenges in the area of sustainable development. And in order to achieve tangible results, these cities have jointly developed urban cooperation action plans, pilot projects, fostering long-term partnerships. To just give a few practical examples of what has already been achieved. The city of Mannheim in Germany has been working with the city of Chongqing in China and achieved a direct freight rail connection between the two cities. Vilnius, the capital of Lithuania, and Kochi in India have focused with the support of the IURC program on solid waste management, water management, and mitigating climate change. Lastly, Fredericton from Canada and Parma from Italy have jointly worked and developed tools and methodologies to look into barriers that hold back women from pursuing careers in their municipalities. They have together developed tools, mechanisms to help overcome gender discrimination. Furthermore, in the light of the pandemic, a number of cities participating in the program have exchanged experiences and shared knowledge on the public health challenges faced, how to deal most effectively with the pandemic, and have jointly developed responses from support services to assist the elderly and vulnerable, to support for local businesses, and provisions to keep public transport clean and safe. Through inter-regional cooperation between the EU and Latin America, the Caribbean, as well as Asia, the IURC has focused on ways to improve regional innovation and cooperation. This has led to the development and refinement of smart specialization strategies by the 40 participating subnational regions, representing 11 EU member states and 5 Latin American countries. And these regions have worked in 20 region-to-region partnerships with the objective to drive innovation, to boost viable business opportunities, and ultimately improve the livelihoods of citizens. Most importantly, the first phase of the program has demonstrated the profound interest at the level of decentralized authorities inside and outside the European Union to cooperate on territorial development themes, leading to better mutual understanding and joint solutions. For the current phase of the program, in terms of geographical scope, the IURC program will continue to focus on key partner countries and regions in Asia and the Americas that were already prioritized under the first phase. But furthermore, the second phase will open up city cooperation in sustainable and urban development to the Republic of Korea, Southeast Asia, as well as Australia and New Zealand. Ladies and gentlemen, the COVID-19 pandemic has clearly demonstrated the need for greater urban resilience as cities all over the world continue to face huge challenges. But this difficult period has also shown the the need to stay connected, to exchange our knowledge and experiences, and to jointly reflect and work on solutions to overcome the challenges we are currently facing. We will continue to work on that together, and the IURC program is one important joint effort in that regard. We sincerely hope that the new phase of the program will provide you with further inspiration, further possibilities and opportunities to take forward local and regional actions for sustainable urban development and innovation. We here at the Service for Foreign Policy Instruments at the European Commission are happy, are proud, are privileged to work with all of you over the next 3 years in this program, together with our colleagues from DG Regio. I wish you a successful event, interesting exchanges, and I would like to thank you for your attention. For me, that was the first and very pleasant virtual meeting at the start of another gray autumn day in Brussels. So it made my day already, and I hope it will be the same for you. Good luck, courage, and back to you, Anthony.
Stefan Sloning, thank you so much for those words and for those well wishes. It's fantastic to see how European foreign policy is not something at the periphery of the EU, but really so enmeshed in the center of everything that we're doing and so essential to realizing those goals that we have. So thank you so much for conveying that message. And for all of those listening at home, indeed, he did say a train station, a train line from a German to a Chinese city. So, I mean, with results like that in the first phase, I can only imagine what the second phase has to bring. And I'm so excited to be along with you for the journey. So please do stick around, and let me welcome to the stage Ronald Hall. He's the Senior Advisor to the Directorate General for Regional and Urban Policy of the European Commission and the sometime godfather of the IURC program. He's going to moderate the next session with Pia Lorilla, the policy officer for urban policy at DG Regio, and Iro Alio, the advisor for energy transition and local governments at the Director General for Energy of the European Commission. Ronald Hall, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be with you. Good evening, or indeed good night, to our colleagues in the East and Far East. I fortunately do not have to use the very precious time that we have to explain the frameworks which have been elucidated by my colleagues earlier, Norman Poppins and Stefan Schlöning, and therefore I can go straight to business. And it's a huge pleasure to be able to... Sorry, there is interference on the line.
I just ask everyone to make sure they're muted. Thank you. Pardon me, Ronald.
No problem. Okay. It's a great pleasure for me to invite Mr. Li Ping, who is the Deputy Director General of the Regional Economy Department in the National Development and Reform Commission, NDRC, to us in the People's Republic of China. It's worth recalling at this juncture that China is our oldest partner at this stage, with the work on regional and urban development policy, having signed an MOU between the European Commission and the NDRC as far back as 2006, and we have enjoyed a very close partnership in the 15 succeeding years, culminating in China playing a major role in the International Urban Cooperation Program, and now in the new International Urban and Regional Cooperation Program. So I would like to welcome Mr. Li Ping to give us a short address of his vision of China's involvement in IURC. Mr. Li, you have the floor.
尊敬的莫蒙斯先生， Distinguished Norman Poppins, ladies and gentlemen, hello everyone. For me, it's a pleasure to attend this IURC annual event.
October 15th, President Xi Jinping of China, together with European Council President Charles Michel, talked over the telephone. And His Excellency President Xi Jinping pointed out that China and the EU are two forces of independent decision-making in the world, and they are also comprehensive partners to each other. There's a necessity for us to enhance our strategic communication to promote a steady and healthy China-EU relationship. Today, IURC Annual Event is happening with the support of DG Regio. It's such a rare opportunity for us to communicate with each other. With video conference, we'll be able to break down the barriers of COVID, review our experience in cooperation, showcase concrete results, all of which bear great significance for China-EU regional policy exchange and cooperation. Since the signing of MOU on China-EU regional policy cooperation, Department of Regional Economy at NDRC, together with DG Regio, have been collaborating with each other, communicating closely with each other, and jointly pushing for fruitful results and win-win cooperation between our two sides. Now, we already had 12 high-level dialogue and 14 policy seminars, jointly supported 40 China-EU pilot case communication, 20 high-level training programs, organized more than 400 government officials, scholars, representatives of businesses to have mutual visits, promoting collaboration between pilot zones, having close exchange between the businesses of each other. And there are great examples created by such cooperation. In 2017, the Chongqing city of China and the city of Mannheim of Germany had a very successful cooperation on setting the China-EU freight train, as well as the collecting and the sorting center for the freight, which has effectively served as a freight channel during the pandemic. In 2018, the city of Liuzhou and Barcelona jointly promoted the building of a smart zone and signed an action plan on cooperation between Barcelona and Liuzhou. Especially during the pandemic, the two sides have been sharing with each other experience fighting with COVID and reopening. The Guangzhou Development Zone has also worked with Granada and Barcelona, trying to talk with each other in terms of supporting each other of biomedicine and smart manufacturing technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, to promote a new round of China-EU regional policy cooperation, recently we've selected 20 pilot zones in China, which is to pair with the 22 pilot zones in Europe. As you can find, there's cities on municipality level, such as Beijing, Tianjin, and there's also the Xiangjiangniu District, Liangjiangniu District, and Guangzhou Development Zone, as well as function areas. You can also find eastern coastal cities such as Dalian, Wenzhou, and Qingdao. And you can also find some cities that are situated in hinterland of China, such as Nanchang, Wuhan, and Xi'an. And there are also cities that are quite vibrant with innovation, such as Hangzhou and Hefei. You also have Haohot, Kunming, and Haikou, cities with rich endowment of natural resources. There are also cities such as Zhengzhou, Yangzhou, and Liuzhou that were already pilot cities in previous cooperation. And you also have Jinan, Chengdu, and Suzhou, which are the cities newly enlisted with great features for cooperation. In general, these regions are of solid development foundations, high level of openness on regional level, and the solid basis of cooperation with EU partners. Hence, the room for our cooperation is extensive. We stand ready to write a new chapter of China-EU regional cooperation with our EU pilot regions. Ladies and gentlemen, looking forward, the landscape for China-EU regional policy cooperation is extensive and promising. As important forces for building a multipolar world, both China and EU have significant responsibility on our shoulder to carry in terms of driving world economic growth and realizing common prosperity. China and EU share profound basis for cooperation in a wide range of thematic areas and quite a few issues of common concern. The Department of Regional Economy at NDRC China will keep up good communication with DG Regio, broadening the scope of cooperation, bringing innovative approach to our cooperation, and jointly push for a new round of pilot regions to pair up with each other. So our China-EU regional cooperation will step onto a new stage. Meanwhile, we'd genuinely love to see EU member states, cities, businesses, and institutions take part in China-EU regional cooperation to share development opportunities and drive the world economy back on the track of recovery and growth. Last but not least, I wish this event a great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Li, Deputy Director General in the NDRC China. I see that you are supported by the presence of a very large number of representatives of the Chinese cities. Just on the screen in front of me, I can see Guangzhou, Wuhan, Lizhou, and I know that there are many others. Kunming is also on the front screen. So it's clear that there is already a lot of motivation on the Chinese side to engage with the IURC program, just as we have had over a number of years in the way that you listed those concrete and specific actions since 2006. You are also, of course, supported, and your colleagues in NDRC can call on our delegation in Beijing in China regarding the IURC program, not to mention our technical support team led by Ms. Wang and Ms. Jin, who are also present in this conference. So we very much look forward to continuing this active and dynamic cooperation with China in the period ahead. So thank you once again, and I warmly invite you to remain for the rest of this short session where we have the perspectives of colleagues working in the technical areas in the European Commission, working on policies that we are seeking to project into the IURC cooperation between the cities, and for that matter, between the regions. So first up now, I would like to welcome my colleague from the Director General for Regional and Urban Policy in the European Commission. It's Laura Pia Lorela, and she will give me and give us an oversight of the key policy developments in urban development in the European Union. Pia, please.
This morning, and to give you a brief insight into the new Leipzig Charter. Actually, Mr. Poppens already mentioned some, let's say, main principles of the Charter in his welcome speech. And now let's look in more detail. What is this Charter about and why it is such an important document for us on the side of European Union? So this new Leipzig Charter is an outcome of the European Union member states' joint work, and all the European institutions also contributed to this work, and the important European city networks. And as Mr. Poppens emphasized, this charter is really all about setting or creating a strategic framework towards integrated, sustainable urban development in the European Union. And while it is providing this policy framework, it recognizes that the impact of global trends and challenges are increasing on cities, and we certainly know these challenges. They are many. I don't know if I even need to repeat them: the climate change, loss of biodiversity, resource scarcity that we are facing, digitalization, migration challenges, demographics, and last but very timely, the issue and challenge of pandemics. And actually these increasing challenges were the rationale why EU member states under the German EU presidency decided that the time is very now urgent to renew the original Leipzig Charter that dates back to the year 2007. So here we see that it was adopted around 1 year ago. And another important dimension for us on the European side is that this charter provides a way or vehicle to contribute to the implementation of these global agreements, like Paris Agreement, New Urban Agenda, SDGs of United Nations, and, well, importantly, our European Green Deal. At the core of this charter is the understanding that, and as the title of the charter is, transformative power of cities. So what this means? It means that, that we have these global challenges, but the cities are certainly in the forefront to bring local solutions. And while doing so, the issue here, kind of an overriding principle, is that cities and public services, local authorities, they should strive for a common good for better quality of life and social cohesion for the citizens. So the importance of preventing inequalities across cities of the European Union is really at the core of this policy framework. Can I have next slide, please? If we then look at the main elements, you see this visual on this slide. On the left-hand side, you see 5 key principles of good urban governance. And all the stakeholders who contributed, we jointly agreed that these are really the issues to focus on. So if we start on the bottom, there is a place-based approach. This means that whenever there is a policy intervention, it should be based on sound analysis of the specific situation on local level. We also need this multi-level governance cooperation, that all levels of government should be involved, be it local, regional, metropolitan, national, European, and global when pertinent. Participation and co-creation is very central for our activities on the European side. And here we very much emphasize the issue that citizens should have a say. Nobody cannot be left behind. We have to pay attention to the needs of our inhabitants who are living in the cities. And then integrated approach, this is also quite, let's say, self-explanatory. It means that all the aspects of policies, different sectoral policies that are affecting our urban localities should be considered, including potential conflicting views and interests, and finding this integrated way of intervening with the policy activities. And finally, here on the top, you see this, what I already emphasized as a leading principle. We need the urban policy for the common good of our cities. This charter puts forward 3 thematic dimensions of the city. You see them in the center part of this slide, and they are titled Just Cities, Green Cities, and Productive Cities. And then there's one cross-sectoral dimension, digitalization. And the purpose of these dimensions is kind of putting forward a vision for the strategic way forward on sustainable urban development. So those are the key building blocks, key thematic areas to focus on. And moreover, on the right-hand side, you see 3 spatial levels where the urban policy should intervene. And on the top, there is a neighborhood level, and this is quite very understandable because we know that many of these challenges that cities are facing are often felt very and more pronouncedly at the level of neighborhoods. Local authority, this is of course administrative city boundary unit, and then here functional area is a core concept that is affecting our activities on the European Union, meaning that policy instruments, activities need to be coordinated with the surrounding suburbs and also the surrounding rural areas of cities and metropolitan areas. On the baseline or as a foundation, you see 3 building blocks, and they are putting forward or displaying how to enhance strong urban governance, how to see that cities need to have adequate policies and funding. But I think time is too short to go in detail to this, but just to highlight, there's a very, very good thinking behind on the European side. Where are the issues that we need to step up our action in terms of enhancing urban governance? Can I have my last slide, please? Here, I turn to the issue of urban agenda for the EU. Why this dimension is now here is that this new Leipzig Charter, it recognizes the urban agenda for the EU as its implementation vehicle. And many of you possibly know that this urban agenda, it was launched 6 years ago through this Pact of Amsterdam, and it's all about better involving cities and urban dimension in the design and implementation of policies, both at the European and at the national levels. And let's say the key activity areas are that through this charter, through this urban agenda cooperation, we aim at better regulation for cities, better funding opportunities for cities, and better knowledge and knowledge sharing for cities. And the implementation of this cooperation happens through so-called thematic partnerships. We have at the moment altogether 14 of them in different areas: energy transition, climate adaptation, sustainable mobility, air quality in cities, and so on. So many of them are addressing the very challenges in the area of need to green our cities, for example. And the benefits of this cooperation are quite major. We would like to consider, and this has also been confirmed by assessment studies, that it is quite a unique and remarkable cooperation between cities, member states, European institutions, and all the other pertinent actors. And we have a wealth of knowledge coming out of this cooperation. There are 140 actions being implemented with interesting tools and studies and frameworks for cities to implement. And also on the side of European Union, on the side of Commission, we try to integrate the outcomes in our policy activities. So very finally, I think I just to conclude here and say that this Friday, there's an important EU ministerial meeting, and Ljubljana Agreement will be adopted, and 2 new partnerships are proposed to be set up next year. And these are about sustainable tourism and greening of the cities. So very exciting activities happening in the near months. And just a last sentence about the new Leipzig Charter to conclude as a takeaway message. So it is regarded kind of a compass for the EU member states and all the actors, that we can use it improving our policy coherence to get our act together, that we are really on the same track towards the sustainable urban future. So we, as you said, Ronald, it would be very important to project these activities, these strategic lines in the future cooperation of IURC program. So over to you, Ronnie.
Thank you very much, Pia, for that excellent presentation of the new Leipzig Charter and its linked to the priorities of the EU's urban agenda. As you emphasize, and indeed as was said at the outset, as an EU program, IURC is attempting to place the emphasis on those elements which we feel are important for the European Union, but they're very much shared because, after all of the countries that are present in this conference today are signatories to the new urban agenda of the United Nations. So we already have, to a very large extent, a shared vision of what needs to be done to produce sustainable urban development. And we have to make this as concrete as possible. We have to give cities inspiration in order to ensure that they have the inputs, the reference points, the information necessary for the cooperation. And it's for that reason that when we were setting up the IURC program for the next 3 years, we took what we regarded as the key themes from these different policy reference documents, from the new urban agenda of the UN through to the new Leipzig Charter and the EU urban agenda, the urban Bauhaus, and related documents, and distill that into what we regarded as the matrix reference for city-to-city cooperation. And this is what you see in front of you on screen at the moment. We have three big overarching priorities or cross-cutting challenges, as they are described, in the form of, firstly, digital transition and the promotion of the smart city. Secondly, energy transition and climate change. And after the COP26 discussions of a matter of days ago, I think we all understand the importance of that more than ever. And in particular, the demands coming from the cities to be actively engaged in this fight against climate change of COP26. And last but by no means least, of course, we are not out of the woods yet, as we say, with regard to the pandemic, which is why this is a virtual conference and not a physical conference in Brussels, as has been the past tradition, but we all have our fingers crossed for 2022. So three major overarching challenges, which find themselves, in our perspective, in the three major thematic networks. Ecological transition and the Green Deal is the first. Urban and regional renewal and social cohesion is the second. And innovation and decarbonizing is the third. And these in turn distill more concretely into the kind of areas that we would like to see the cities working together. And indeed, all of the evidence that we have from the various early meetings and the kickoff meetings of IURC suggest that indeed that is the case. For example, if we just take ecological transition and the Green Deal, we see key areas being those such as circular economy, nature-based solutions, sustainable and urban agriculture, decarbonizing and sustainable urban agriculture. And in each one of these themes, we can see how and they will make a contribution, varying from theme to theme, to the overarching priorities at the top. For example, it's clear that if we make progress in relation to the circular economy, you can make progress in relation to climate change, possibly into smart city development as well, using the new digital technologies and so on. So that is the reference framework that we're seeking to promote for the cooperation under IURC as we move forward in the next 3 years. So let me say then that from that point of view, we think that we have a good basis for moving forward. And I would like to return to Pia to ask her a specific question about how the new Leipzig Charter, in particular in relation to green and productive cities, as well as the cross-cutting theme of digitalization, which you mentioned, relate to the thematic networks of the International Urban and Regional Cooperation Programme. Pia.
Yes, thank you, Ronald, for this question. When listening to you and looking at this slide, it is evident that there's a very good alignment between IURC, thematic networks, cross-cutting challenges, and this new Leipzig Charter content. So this provides an excellent opportunity for getting our act together on the side of the European Union, member states, cities, EU institutions, and the global international cooperation. And on this slide, you see some, let's say, deeper information of the thematic content of these 3 dimensions. I think for the time is short, I just briefly say, just city about all about equal opportunities. All the social groupings need to have an access to services. They need to have affordable housing, for example. They need to have a living environment that is safe in the neighborhoods. The next speaker, Eero Ailio, he will, in my understanding, will speak more about the European Green Deal and green city dimensions, and Leipzig Charter fully embeds this European Green Deal content. So Eero will bring more about this dimension for your information. And very finally, the productive city, as the title is, we need attractive local ecosystems for our businesses. We need a strong innovation environment. So this is at the core of productive city, but again, with attention, leaving nobody behind. So this is really something that we do not want to build divides in our development efforts. And finally, the digitalization is a strong aspect of the new Leipzig Charter. And here it is all about smart city related developments and bringing digital services in a fair and just way. So on the side of European Commission, and having been part of this new Leipzig Charter process, how all the actors cooperated, we can confirm that there's a good opportunity to align the activities and work together for the sustainable future of the globe in this international cooperation program. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Pia. In fact, you mentioned the contribution of our colleague Eero Ailio, but he is having technical issues this morning, it seems, and may not be able to join us. And of course, we have now more or less reached the end of the allotted time in any case. But I hope that our participant cities and authorities find this inspirational. These 3 dimensions of urban policy that emphasize not just the need for economic development and, as you say, innovation through the productive city, but also on the same level, there is the sustainable green city development. And last but by no means least, and perhaps even more important in the light of the impact, social impact of the pandemic, the just city, the notion of cohesion in socioeconomic terms within urban development policy. And I think these are really the key high-level reference points that we need to keep in mind as we look at the concrete actions under the city cooperation of IURC. Could I return to you then, Pia? You're doing all the heavy lifting today, but could I ask you as a last question, do you see any other pertinent developments that you would like to draw to the attention of this large audience today?
Yes, yes, I think I return to also the remark of Deputy Director General Normus Poppens in his introduction today. He mentioned this novelty, what we are very intensely working on the side of European cohesion policy. And this is very pertinent for IURC program as well, because first of all, let me mention why we came up of this European urban initiative. Again, we want to get our act together on the cohesion policy. We have many urban support tools, and we want to bring them under the same architecture, under the same, let's say, frame. And why? To offer more coherent support to cities in the European Union. And Mr. Poppens already referred to that we continue to support innovative actions. So there is a kind of a strong experimentation dimension here, that a city together with the local ecosystem can experiment with the novel solutions, be it about smart city, be it about cleaning of the city, or social cohesion elements. And aside of this strong innovation investment that we offer for European cities, we step up our capacity building offer for cities, and also importantly, access to knowledge. And here I come to the IURC program. We are setting up a knowledge sharing platform, and we really seek to have this platform available for IURC members all around the globe, and to have pertinent and relevant information, good practices, the ways how to improve the sustainable urban development, and really share our knowledge with you. And I mentioned this wealth of knowledge under European urban agenda. So we will bring this member states and cities cooperation also under this remit. And indeed, the first call in the side of innovative actions under this initiative is foreseen towards autumn 2022. And support for new European Bauhaus is foreseen here. I think I need to mention that this is an EU program, so this goal is for the European cities, but very, very interesting developments coming up in the frame of European Urban Initiative as well. So over to you, Ronnie, on this topic.
Thank you very much indeed, Pia. Indeed, this is a very important reminder, I think, for all our partners outside the European Union, that we are very much prioritizing this accumulation of knowledge so that we can capitalize on experience. And it is this knowledge at the European Union level that we seek to bring to the table when we come to the partnerships under IURC. And it's also important in that context to remember that the cities selected for participation in IURC from inside the European Union have been selected on criteria, at least in part, of their successful involvement in European sustainable urban development policy. So they are the carriers of the knowledge at the grassroots of the EU's urban policy agenda. Pia, thank you very, very much for all of your contributions this morning. Thank you to all of the participants for their attention. I would remind you that it's not over yet. We have an interesting program, a more interactive program perhaps for you as we move through the day or through the night, as it may be where you are. And I now pass the floor back to my colleague, Anthony Coatcliff.
Thank you so much, Ronald Hall, and to all our speakers there. I'm sure there are rapturous rounds of applause coming out all over the place. Sadly, we can't hear them, but as you said, hopefully next time we'll all be in person and get to enjoy those. So great, fantastic from you and from all the speakers. Many thanks. And we're moving forward to Sandra Marin now. She's the team leader of the Central Coordination Unit of the IURC. And she's going to take us swimming in a sea of opportunities.
Thank you, Anthony. Okay, I'm really glad to see a lot of friendly names in the chat. So let's keep being active, okay? There's been a lot going on since we presented the program in Europe back in April during the London event. And during these 7 months of the Central Coordination Service of the program, we've been working to get everything ready for you. We have developed a strategy and working methodology for city-to-city and region-to-region cooperation at program level. The brand new website that you all know is our knowledge platform, and there you can find everything that's going on. But I take the chance to invite you to subscribe to our newsletter and to follow us in social media if you haven't done that yet. But the most important thing has been the open call in Europe for cities and regions, plus the evaluation, selection, and matching through a coordinated parallel process with the geographical areas at program level. And this is very important. It's amazing how we have been working all together with all geographical areas. And you will see that during the program today. So next slide, please. We have been able to reach 138 cities and 40 regions from 36 countries in the world. So amazing opportunities for you to network, open doors, get a better positioning in the international scope. We have divided, next slide, please. We have divided, as you can see in our map, there we are, this number of cities and regions in 4 geographical areas. In the case of Europe, we have included the possibility of small municipalities to participate as well under the figure of a functional area, and also the bigger agglomerations in the forms of metropolitan cities and areas. So since September, when we announced all the participants, all our geographical areas have been working very hard to start the cooperation. Most of you cities are already moving on. So I would like to show you now through a video of what has been going on in Asia and Australasia through this video message from the European External Action Service representatives, Alexandra Lehmann in Beijing for China and Michelle Mouchereau in Bangkok, with their teams and country coordinators. So let's see what has been going on. Thank you.
Pauline, we don't have the sound. Can you try to share the screen again, including the sound option, please?
Sure, just give me 1 second. I will share it again.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning and good afternoon to everyone from the Asia-Pacific regions. Greetings from Beijing, China. We at the European Union are very glad to see our international urban and regional cooperation growing to include many more countries and playing a bigger role in helping cities and regions around the world to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and to make our world a bit better for today as well as for future generations.
For the next 2 years, the IURC program will facilitate cooperation between 39 Asian and Australasian cities and 46 cities from the European Union. Moreover, cooperation between EU and Chinese cities and regions will considerably increase these figures. All participating cities will have the opportunity to collaborate on a variety of topics, such as climate change, overcoming the COVID-19 pandemic, and initiating digital transition.
The IURC is such an exciting program because it not only creates a global community where cities and regions can share their best practices, but it also aims to achieve concrete results, which will hopefully continue to develop even after the program ends. We have good experience from the days of the IUC, International Urban Cooperation, or what we refer to as Phase 1 of the IURC program. Many exciting projects and results have been realized, some of which you will hear about later today.
For example, as part of citizens' engagement, the cities of Turku and Nagano organized a competition that saw youth produce 160 videos promoting sustainable lifestyle and reduction of climate emissions that were presented and showcased during COP26 in Glasgow.
Last year, when the international communication on cooperation was challenged by COVID-19, we were very pleased to see that the commitment and willingness of the cities to cooperate and exchange was actually even further strengthened. Online communication allowed to stay even more frequently in touch with each other. For example, under the framework of IUC and the active involvement of the two pilot cities, Mannheim in Germany and Chongqing in China, both sides jointly established the Mannheim-Chongqing Center, following up their successful cooperation on railways in 2018. The center has set up a good example of how stakeholders from different sectors work together with a vision for long-term sustainable cooperation.
Supporting the work of more than 100 cities and regions requires a large team. We have been able to mobilize top development and urban experts in each of the project countries that will help you to identify and implement pilot actions and joint projects. We are very committed to make this project a success and to help you in achieving your international goals, whereby your cities and regions can become leading examples in this global urban and innovation network.
Connect, communicate, and collaborate. In China, IURC has become one of the most influential international programs within the themes of sustainable urban development and regional innovation. We have established long-standing relationships with the central government, cities and regions, universities and research institutes, and stakeholders from private sectors.
We facilitate your urban and regional agenda through international cooperation by joint pilot projects, active knowledge sharing, and peer-level exchange of good practices.
This year, Rome, Bologna, Barcelona, and Stuttgart participated in the Horticulture Expo in Yangzhou, and Mannheim-Chongqing kicked off its cooperation on startup exchange.
Beyond China, we're working with 9 countries in Asia and Australasia. Urban challenges and opportunities are vast in this region. Therefore, we are organizing thematic webinars to create a global community of practitioners to share experiences and look for joint solutions.
In Korea, we have implemented a webinar on green infrastructure and nature-based solutions. Also, 6 cities in the EU and Korea are exploring deeper cooperation in areas like smart city and climate action. We are happy to rely on a strong experts team from CityNet.
In Japan, we have initiated cooperation between 13 cities from Europe and 10 cities from Japan, a total of 23 cities. Areas of interest include decarbonization and circular economy solutions in cities, promotion of hydrogen deployment, nature-based solutions, and participatory urban planning. We are happy to rely on a strong experts team of IJES.
In Malaysia, we have launched cooperation with Portuguese and Italian cities. Apart from bilateral meetings, IURC also participated in major events such as the EU-Malaysia Climate Action Conference, where our 7 pilot cities shared their experiences and future plans on circular economy, waste management, and nature-based solutions.
In India, we have initiated the cooperation between Indian and European cities. We have also launched, together with our partners, the first international e-course on mainstreaming urban climate action, while we have also delivered the first cluster event on COVID-19 and mobility.
In Vietnam, we have launched cooperation between Hà Tĩnh and Đà Lạt with Stuttgart and Colaboro Latina. Cooperation includes mobility, circular economy, open innovation, and economic development.
In Thailand, we have launched cooperation with Bangkok and look forward to working with more cities. So far, we have implemented 4 webinars on greening cities with partners from civil society, business, and also research.
In Indonesia, Semarang and Bandung cooperate with Sofia and Rome. Our program has also been endorsed by the national authorities, and we have partnered with the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact. We have also supported the EU Climate Diplomacy Week to foster dialogue on climate change.
In New Zealand, we have launched cooperation between 3 New Zealand and 4 European Union cities. Several online meetings have taken place, and we look forward to consolidating interesting projects in climate action, green infrastructure, economic diversification, and citizens' engagement.
In Australia, we are happy to facilitate cooperation between 7 prominent Australian and EU cities. We at the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, RMIT, are proud to support the IURC program by providing the help desk function for Australasia.
In 2022, we will initiate the study visits in line with the COVID contingency. But due to the sound preparation that cities have had so far, through the regular online exchanges organized by the project team, the working meetings to come will be very targeted.
The study visits must lead to concrete pilot actions and projects that will be implemented during 2022 and 2023. The project team will support cross-country cooperation through clusters and networks throughout the rest of the project. Together, we are looking forward to working more with you.
Well, thank you very much to all our EU delegations and country coordinators, to all our teams for all this activity in only 2 months. That's great. Of course, you can find this video in our website, okay? If you had any problems or you want to take a deeper look on that. Okay, so before we move to the next roundtable with stakeholders, which stakeholders show us really concrete example of successful cases emerging from international cooperation under our program. But before that, let me give you some very quick good news. This is especially more for maybe for the European side, but DG Regio has launched a new program, International City Partnership, quite similar to our IURC, for cooperation with South Africa, Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, South Korea, and Canada. So 14 European cities will be selected. The call is open until the 30th of November, okay? So take a look at that also in our website. And then for regions, also a new program with Japan is going to be launched very, very soon. So keep an eye on our website to get all the news about it. Okay, so now we'll pass the floor to Ana Contreras from Acciona, who's the consortium manager of our central coordination service, who will moderate the next roundtable, A Sea of Opportunities. So the floor is yours, Ana.
Thank you, Sandra. It seems I'm having problems with my camera. I don't know what's going on.
Anna, can you try to log out and log in again quickly? In the meantime, I would invite all the speakers to turn on their cameras, please. So we have Flavio, Mette, Patrick, Mr. Ma, Sier, and Sarah.
While Anna tries to come back.
She's back with her camera on.
Okay, great.
Hello, very sorry, there was a problem with my camera. This is what happens with online meetings. Good morning, good evening to all of you. It's a pleasure to be with all of you after this amazing introduction to our program, and thanks very much, Sandra, for the introductory words. I am delighted right now to moderate this table with experts from different businesses that show a wide range of opportunities for cooperation between cities and regions in the fields of sustainable urban development and innovation. I invite our panelists, if you haven't been able to do it before, to turn on your cameras. I think we are all in. I see Flavio, and hopefully I'll see the rest. Okay, now I see you. Okay, so it's great to see you all. So today we are pleased to have with us Samuel Ma. Welcome, Samuel. Sier Angar, who will explain the cooperation case between the cities of Mannheim and Chongqing in the southwest of China, followed by Mette Hamenaho. Hopefully I have pronounced it correctly, Mette. I do not hear you. Okay, thank you. Chair of the Turku Youth Council, Sarah Lund from Climatorium. Hello, Sarah. And Flavio Rosa from Rome Sapienza University.
Buongiorno a tutti. Good morning, everybody.
Buongiorno, Flavio.
Buongiorno.
Stakeholders have a very relevant role in the durability of the actions, as Michelle has already described, especially in the cases of government change. And businesses have to be catalysts and accelerators of these actions. Our today's experts will bring us their valuable experiences in the previous phase of the program. But before, I will briefly explain the dynamics. To begin, our experts, our speakers will make a brief presentation on their specific cooperation action. Once all the presentations are finished, we will carry out a brief debate to enrich the dialogue. To make the session more interactive, I encourage all participants on the other side of the screen to share your questions, concerns all over the chat, so we could exchange more lessons learned and all your experiences. And I encourage both panelists, of course, when you are not presenting, and cities and regions representatives of each pairing can answer directly over the chat, although we will bring the most relevant or interesting questions at the end of the session. Sandra, you can help me with that, okay? So good morning, Samuel and Sier. Your case is a great example of the possibilities offered by the networking of this program for different companies and innovative projects. Can you tell us more about this? Samuel?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Samuel Ma, and I come from the Share company in Chongqing, and I'm honored to say a few words about the Mannheim and Chongqing Center with Sier Angar. So basically, our center was launched under the auspices of IURC with the support of the municipal government of Mannheim, IURC, as well as the Chongqing chapter of Development and Reform Commission. And the goal is to basically provide support to companies in both countries in order to promote the incubation and the clustering of innovative projects. So basically, we have been working with the local private sectors. And basically, we were in charge of attracting the companies to Chongqing, whereas Mei Wenqi or Angar's company was in charge of working with the German counterparts. And basically, we narrowed down a term of reference, and that has to do with sports events, scientific research, education, culture, healthcare, and a variety of areas. So I'd like to turn it over to Sier Angar, founder and managing partner of Sino-German Network and Mei Wenqi GmbH.
Yes, thank you very much. If you could be so kind and move forward one slide, because then you can see the areas of cooperations that Samuel just referenced to. So these were the cooperation parts. And if you could come to the next slide,
I would like to then, based on this, continue. Well, even one more, please. Yes, thank you. So obviously, all of you and we experienced the same stuff within the last month or even more. So COVID-19 crisis was really an issue to us that right at the beginning, we understood that no personal meetings were possible. And even until today, Samuel Ma and myself, we know each other like from this size. So we never met in person, but nevertheless, we hope that sooner or later we will have the opportunity to solve this. Nevertheless, with the support of the IURC, we switched directly to this online meeting logic. And I would like to emphasize that we really had a tremendous support from all these actors, especially to mention the Chongqing DRC, but also in the city of Mannheim, the Lord Mayor, Dr. Peter Kurz, and also the Head of Department of International Affairs, David Linze and his team. Thank you very much for all the support. So it was possible for us to continuously, step by step, communicate, interact, and build a level of trust. And one thing that really I would like to emphasize is that with Mr. Dominik Wittmer, the Deputy General Manager of FanShare sitting in Switzerland, right near to us, we had the possibility to interact and also met in person. And based on this, we really had the chance to achieve a couple of aspects. The one you saw it in the video was the signing of the letter of intent during the opening ceremony at Chongqing in September 2020. And then in May 21, with the support of IURC, we had the parallel opening ceremony in a virtual logic in both cities, in Chongqing and in Mannheim. And starting as of this July, we launched the Sino-German Business Incubation Competition, where innovative startups, but also small and medium enterprises have the opportunity to seek out for their opportunities to the go-to-market through Central China as a touch base in Mannheim and also in Chongqing. So for any additional questions during the Q&A, happy to be here, and thank you very much for all the support, and looking forward to the next presentations. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sier. So right now, let's move on with our next speaker. Welcome again, Mete. The case between Turku and Nagano, as already mentioned in the video also, showcases how new generations can be involved in our program, which is quite exciting, I guess. Mete, can you tell us more about this incredible initiative?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. So as said, my name is Mette Hämeenaho, and I'm the chair of the Turku Youth Council in Finland. It's a pleasure to be here today. To introduce the program I was working with last year's fall and this spring, my presentation will be about the events and projects we had in cooperation with some cities in Japan. Before that, I will tell you in a nutshell what the Youth Council is, because I know that some countries are not familiar with the concept. So shortly, the Turku Youth Council is a group of young people who are chosen through elections, and the candidates are between 13 and 18 years old at the time of these elections. Our mission is to make sure the young people's voices and opinions are heard in the, in the local level in the decision making. Our tools for this are, for example, initiatives and statements for the city council, and also lobbying the local politicians. So this project was intensively together working with the city council and the city workers. You can switch to the next slide. Yes, thank you. So then more about the project itself. We had two parts in the project. The first part was a climate panel, where as panelists, we had two young climate activists, the city council chair, a fast food restaurant chain's representative, and a circular economy expert from the University of Applied Sciences. So we had like schools, business, university, politics, and the youth all together discussing. You can see a picture of the panel in the upper right corner of the slide. The questions were fully planned by young people, and also the video of the panel was then used as educational material here in Turku in schools. In the end of the panel, we launched the second part of the project, which was a 1.5 degree lifestyle video competition, as mentioned in the video in the beginning. This competition was held both in Finland and Japan, and the idea was that young people in these participating cities could film their own videos about what the 1.5 degree lifestyle looks like. Here in Turku, we got 12 videos, but for example, in Nagano, they got 161 videos, which was a huge success. Of course, the city is much bigger, but also we learned that the young people, they are thirsty to get to influence. The rest of the photos on the slide are from our advertising of this competition. We had, for example, social media influencers making ad videos for the competition. I would say like one of the most important incomes was that based on all this work, we succeeded to regularize the term of 1.5 degree lifestyle, at least here in Turku. And also that the collaboration with the young people in Japan will definitely be continued. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mette. That was so challenging, and I guess that having children, because they are children of 13, it's so excited for them. So I can understand their thirstiness for showing more and to make their approaches also to Japanese and so on. Thanks a lot, Mette.
Thank you.
So right now, and Mette, please stay with us and join us the final debate. Okay. Right now, let's move on with our next panelist. Sarah, are you there, Sarah? I can't.
Yep, I'm here. I just need to unmute. So yes.
Oh, okay. Hello, Sarah. You bring us a good example of how the program can work as an accelerator of projects. Can you explain how you have achieved it?
How we have achieved the project?
Yes.
Yes.
The action.
So you'd like me to get onto the presentation, I guess? Yeah. Yes, well, hello, thank you. And thanks for having us on board in this presentation. My name is Sarah and I work at Climatorium. Climatorium is Denmark's International Climate Center. So it's located in Denmark, and you see the building here on the picture. It's located in the town called Lemvig, which is on the Danish west coast. So it's facing a lot of coastal challenges. So what is Climatorium? We only got very short amount of time to present, so I'll go through it quite quickly, but everyone is welcome to contact me afterwards for more information. But Climatorium was an idea born back in 2015. The organization Climatorium was founded back in January 2019. It is an offspring of an EU live project called Coast to Coast Climate Challenge, which is a 6-year adaptation project, which has started in 17 and is finishing next year, 22. This project has 31 partners, and with those partners, 24 projects have been established. And Climatorium was one of the projects in this collaboration. And the purpose of Climatorium was to bring an afterlife. Very important that when we work on projects that are time restricted, that we have an afterlife to it. And that is the main purpose of Climatorium at the beginning. I would also like to say that Climatorium and Coast to Coast Climate Challenge project, they contribute to the EU strategy on adaptation to climate change, which looks into how EU can adapt and become climate resilient by 2050. And as a part of this afterlife to Coast to Coast, please go one back again. If you go one slide back again. Yeah, so as a part of this collaboration, very early on, we signed principles of collaboration with Climatorium in New Zealand, in the city Nelson, and together with Wakatu, with the Maori indigenous people organization or company down there. And this is to strengthen collaboration across countries and the importance of that. And so since 2020, we've been working closely with them on projects and on collaboration and on knowledge sharing. The actual building that you see on the pictures on this slide opened in December 2020. It's a beautiful, beautiful building, and also like to strike the importance of actually having a building, because Climatorium is not only the building, it is a lot more than that. But because we have this beautiful place that attracts the eye and a place for people to meet, it actually adds a lot of value to a collaboration. But what does Climatorium do? We identify climate-related challenges and we turn them into opportunities. And we do that by working with the quadruple helix model, which I'll describe at the end of the presentation also. We communicate and inform about the projects we're working on, and we make sure we bring the right people together to collaborate. And please go to the next one. The next slide, I've put in a lot of nice pictures just to briefly come across some of the projects that we're working on. And you'd see in the top left-hand corner, you see a nice place for people to meet. It's right at the waterfront of Lemvig Harbour. And in the bottom right-hand corner, you then see the same place, but completely flooded. But what's interesting here is this wall that's been built, because it's been built with an architectural view in mind, so that it actually allows people to meet and creates this beautiful place for markets, for playgrounds, for walks. But when a storm occurs and the water level rise, then you can block off the wall completely and keep the water out. I'll go through them quite quickly again, but happy to explain more to the ones interested. In the top right-hand corner, you see a lot of water in the road. That's a permeable asphalt road, where the asphalt has a lot of holes in it, which means that when heavy rain occurs, the water actually goes quickly through the road and gets collected in a bit of a chamber underneath. And then there's different version of what you can do with this. You can put in like heat tubes underneath to generate energy. You can also, we're working on testing the water quality to let it filtrate through to the ground instead of having to send it back to the water utility. A very interesting project, which has fed a lot of new projects after this, yeah, out in use today with the industry also. In the bottom left-hand corner, you see a little square thing with a reflector, and it is a metal thing where the satellites that are the EU satellite Sentinel data constantly every 6 days, it gets monitored and calculated with the distance from, so that you can measure the changes in the land level, and it's with a very, very precise accuracy of 0.02 millimeters, which has proven to actually have a lot of use to be able to do this. One of the things we use it for is to measure when the land is subsiding, which some places very close to where Climatorium is based. We have a place that is every year subsides by 1 centimeter, which has a huge effect on the water pipes underground. So by being able to see how the land is changing, we can step in early and lower the cost of replacing or repairing water pipes. There's some sound coming through.
Sorry, Sarah, can I ask? Hey, thank you, to mute your phones. Thank you.
Yeah, so just go to the last one, please. So these are some of the projects that we're working on. If you can slide through to the last slide, please. That's just showing the quadruple helix model to say how we're working, because we work, as I said, in a collaboration, and we have a lot of knowledge exists at the universities. There's so much knowledge, but quite often it stays there. It doesn't come out and actually be brought into use. The private sector are able to actually bring a lot of challenges and create solutions, and the public sector are facing a lot of challenges, and with here the councils need to do a lot within climate, and the interest of also bringing in the water utility, which has a lot of assets and can invest a lot of money in doing things smarter or differently to adapt to the climate. So by bringing these parties in, we can actually create really good solutions, which also has a growth potential internationally, which is also why we like to look international in what we're doing to really make it visible, the industry behind solutions, and not only the knowledge, but also the industry and the actual solutions. And in the center of this quadruple helix, you have the public, which strikes the importance of sharing the knowledge, of sharing the climate solutions that are out there, and sharing it in the way that's not long technical reports or those technical industrial terms that we keep using. Because when we do that, we'll lose a lot of people along the way. We only stick to the ones in the core center of that already knows a lot of the stuff. We need to be able to communicate in a way that everyone understands. And by saying that, we created this children's climate conference that we're having once a year, where we speak to kids aged 12 to 13. And what's interesting in this is that a lot of actually skilled industrial people suddenly get this feeling of finding out more knowledge. They thought they knew it all, but by suddenly lowering the way we communicate, you get new knowledge. So super important how we communicate, how we share with the public and the community, and how we engage with them along the way. So this is a lot of information. I keep talking, but I know we got a short amount of time, so I'll leave it here. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sara. It's amazing how you got all those results in such a short time. And of course, I agree with you that communicating is very important. Of course, passing through the greenwashing, let's say, and advancing through tangible results, which will get, of course, more people aligned. So thanks a lot for all these challenges. I think that both your presentation and Mette are so aligned with the recently results of the COP26 of Glasgow. So that's amazing to see how things are moving on in that direction. But now let's proceed with the final panelist. Here we have Flavio. Welcome, Flavio, again.
Good morning.
Buongiorno, Flavio.
Yes, buongiorno.
Buongiorno. It's amazing how you cover all this training, designing, and innovating at the same time. Can you please let us know how universities can work on capacity building within our program based on your experience through your presentation, I mean, but targeting that, capacity building?
Yes, capacity building is the first focus activities of the university, and for us, it's normal. It's the first topics to follow. So the opportunity of the IURC on these activities will be very important. So IURC made it possible to focus and accelerate cooperation activities. Focus as the partners selected for cooperation activities have always been of high level and very interesting, sharing developments and the growth program, especially for the academia cluster. Accelerate because the work done by the IURC team has always been efficient and effective to achieve the cooperation objectives proposed in Rome with all Chinese cities.
Thanks a lot, Flavio. Now, if you would like, you can share your amazing presentation.
Thank you. Yes, yes. First of all, yes, I am Flavio Rosa, adjunct professor at Rome Sapienza School of Architecture. First of all, I want to thank on this occasion the total support to the IURC program that the CITERA director, Professor Fabrizio Cumo, has always given to the program. A special thanks to my dear friend and colleague Patrick Maurelli, with whom I am fortunate to also work on the IURC program. Well, and I'm going to share the screen, please, to give me the opportunity to share in the screen. Okay, okay, and I'm now going to
we see it already.
Yes, yes, I don't yes, one moment, I need to find the practical. Okay, this one. Okay, share my screen. This one. Okay. Okay. Can you see?
Yes.
The full screen.
Perfectly. Full screen.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Good morning. Good afternoon. And the CITERA Research Center and of Sapienza University of Rome had the great opportunity to participate in the previous phase of our program to share the centuries old history and enhance it stroke cooperation activities with different Chinese realities that we had the opportunity to visit. And our program approach was developed on 3 pillars within the academia cluster: training with the international summer schools, participating for sharing knowledge, innovating to grow together with all the partners meets in China. The first edition of the Summer School of 2020 was a success for participation and innovating scientific technical growth in the digital twin sector related to construction. Due to the COVID restriction, the Summer School was held only online. The results of these activities, thanks also to the contribution of IURC, as well with the publication of a text which comprehends all the lessons held by the 11 teachers of the summer school. The text can be downloaded for free from the website of the cooperation platform. The interchange and participatory activities were implemented with the participation of the municipality of Rome and Citera Center. And at the Yangzhou International Horticultural Expo 2021 with our Hortus Romani projects. A garden and pavilion for which Citera was the scientific partner coordinating the 3 pillars of the project: urban agriculture, vineyard and wine, smart green building, and vertical green. It's created a green innovative space between tradition and innovation. We are pleased to announce that Hortus Romani has received the Golden Awards from the organizing committee. In conclusion, a previous phase of our program has given us the opportunity to achieve excellent results in international scientific cooperation, not only with China. This is our sum of achievement we in these activities of the last 3 years. Yes, at the moment where the conclusion, thank you to IURC and all its team for their tireless support, and we cannot wait for the 2021-23 program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Flavio. Grazie mille.
You're welcome.
For opening all these new horizons, and also congrats for that award.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
The good work
all the team.
done.
Thank you.
It will be great to see all those vineyards in China.
Yes, yes. This is a very important topics for us.
Okay, so right now I would like to also introduce, as you mentioned, Patrick Morelli, who will be joining our debate. He is coordinator of the Citera, GIS, BEAM, and Digital Twins Laboratory. So welcome, Patrick. But just before, hello, Patrick. But just before we start, I would like to remind our participants, I have seen there has been lots of movement in the chat, but just to continue posting your questions, concerns, so let us enrich our exchanges and lessons learned based on the previous experiences, and also to the cities representatives who are joining us today. And to begin and breaking up the ice, I would like to start making you all a general question, though some of you have already approached it. It will be how the program has supported you in these actions that you have been described, in these cooperation actions that you have described. Kindly consider other possible synergies or intangible results that may have been derived from joining our program. But let us do the other way around. Now let us begin with Patrick, followed by Sarah, then Mette, and finally Sier and Samuel. So Patrick, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anna. Well, as a also Flavio was saying, we had a concrete result, and this is very important in actually in 2 years. So it was an intense work. Well, in my opinion, and I talk about the cluster of Rome City that participated to do the IUC program. So not only our university laboratories, but also the municipality that of course is the core of this participation in IUC, and also some companies, some startups that could participate. So a quite large cluster that we managed to aggregate in this cooperation activity since the beginning. And I think that for all of us, the most precious, let's say, added value was this opportunity in meeting counterparts, in matching, let's say, because it's not evident that municipalities or also other entities has the resources like a dedicated office normally that can do such an activity at international level. So it means that it becomes often a secondary opportunity. It's not the core business of a municipality. For us of the Sapienza University and Citera Research Center, of course, it's easier because we are since many years in international relations. But let's think also to a lot of startups, very interesting companies, spin-off coming from the university context. For them, it's not easy at all to approach an international dimension. So the work on identification of counterparts and also the management of the relations traced to the competence of the IUC team and their strong commitment, of course. Well, it depends on the people that are in this team. So I think this is certainly the most added value. Let's say that also the cluster had this way the opportunity to meet specific counterparts. So it means that there was work on themes, on thematics, on matching, very important. Meet interested counterparts, and the results can grow in this way. When there is a specific interest and a real commitment and a common interest. So this work on matching, I think, is the most important one. It is the first step for establish also a long-term cooperation. And our case, I think, like the International Summer School, is a very good example of what we could call a best practice. Now we are able to manage ourselves this International Summer School. In the next will be the 3rd edition, and we hope very soon there will be a double edition in the year, a winter school and a summer school, probably a summer school in Italy, physical presence, and a winter school in China, with the people, with the colleagues, with the people that we met thanks to the IURC program.
Thanks a lot, Patrick. Long term, of course, will be decisive, and we have still 3 years, well, 2 years and a half to continue with these cooperation actions. And of course, there will be time for those summer capacity camps with the schools and including them. And of course, with the quadruple helix approach. So thanks a lot, Patrick. Sara.
Yes, thank you. I guess we as Climatorium are a bit different because we had an existing relationship prior to joining this course, but not the least, I think we can get a lot of value out of it. We just need to approach it a bit differently to see how we can speed up the collaboration and get projects off the ground. I guess what's also interesting for us in the IURC program is how we on a bigger scale can collaborate, because under Climatorium, we got this vision of linking to hubs, climatoriums, and preferably actually buildings around the globe, because we've seen how big an importance it is to have this physical place, even though it's important not only have knowledge linked to one physical place, but make it, learning from COVID, available online also and through other hubs. But this thing about having a physical place to meet and that can be seen, it has a huge importance. So our vision is, and hopefully this can help it, that we get climatoriums in different cities, countries, regions, and through that we can knowledge share, we can develop together. And very important is that in that is also that we need to, of course, the communication, as I said before, being better at communicating at an easy, understandable level for everyone. And it's also very important that we remember companies, because we also feel quite often the companies are forgotten. We see universities and we see the solutions, but we forget who is actually a part of the solution. We need to make them a lot more visible, so that when we have challenges, people outside around the world know who to reach out to work with their challenges, and who can we learn from. And that is something IURC does. And we believe if we spend those next couple of years in the right way, maybe we can create an even better collaboration where Climatorium fits nicely into. So that's that's how we see a lot of value added to this.
I totally agree, Sarah. I think the private sector is one of the key counterparts of this quadruple helix. And of course, the study visits will help to visit all those pilots to see and to reach those tangible results of the actions that you have already developed. Thanks a lot, Sarah. Okay. So now let's move on with Mette for all these young people.
Yes, thank you. I see that there's at least two valuable things that the program gave us. First of all, maybe through this program, our project will be a great example for others that it's totally possible to create things and collaboration with young people too, whether they are in a civil society, youth council, or a university, etc. Secondly, for our youth council especially, this program brought an excellent opportunity to international activities, and maybe for our Japanese partners, an insight into what youth participation can really be about. I think those are the most important parts.
Thanks a lot, Mette. And let's finalize with Sier and Samuel.
Yes, thank you. From my side, on the one side, representing the city of Mannheim, the city really had the huge opportunity through the IURC program, and also from the very big prior, like phase 1 IOC program, where Mannheim already took part, a lot of support when it comes to their international activities in general, and especially when it comes to China. I think to a certain point, from both administrations, Mannheim and also Chongqing, it was really courageous to give it into the hands of private companies like Venture and us, because the typical collaboration logic here was redefined in the way that it is to a certain point like best of both worlds.
Sorry, it's here to interrupt. Sorry, can I ask all the rest to mute your phone? Thank you. Now, here, I think it goes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Anna. So just with this last sentence, like really, we had this communication a lot of times with Bianquian and also with Pablo Gandara, and like, let's create something that is best of both worlds. Have the political framework. Let's make sure that we have the support and all the capabilities and resources. But when it comes to speed and also to business activities, let's focus on the private sector. And I'm super happy and glad that with our friends of Venture, we really have this touch base now, and then looking forward to the more or less end of this pandemic to finally also bring these theoretical activities in more practical aspects. And I saw the question of you, Pablo, about our collaborating partners when it comes to recruiting startups on both sides. Yes, we work with a lot of associations with the Chamber of Commerce, national-wide and international, and with this startup ecosystems in different cities on a national level, and otherwise it would not work. So we can be this kind of building the bridges on both sides. And
accelerating the networking. That's great here. And come back to China because
very
I know
soon, I hope. So
I know you already have been there, and that was very fruitful. So hopefully we will be able to start again with the study visits and enrich the dialogue with the face-to-face meetings, as I said before. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot here. I don't know if Samuel wants to add anything. So let Samuel. Thank you, Samuel.
Yeah. Great. So IURC helped us accelerate the project implementation, and also as an official program offering of the EU, it helps us to build trust as we carry out cooperation with the counterparts. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Samuel. Trust is really an added value for our program, and hopefully it will continue improving that trust with these following 2 years. Thanks a lot, Samuel, and thanks to all. So right now I have seen lots of movement in the chat and we are running out of time. So I will just ask Sandra if there is any question that has not been answered yet, which is relevant.
Yeah, let's see. By order, okay, there's one question for Flavio, I guess. So did Chinese cities have their existing centers or facilities for research, or you established the new facilities for starting research projects on agriculture? And which stakeholders did you work with for implementing the projects? Yes, let's try to have very short, concrete answers. So maybe we can add another question. Flavio, please.
Yes, we are working. We have developed activities in the last program, for example, with the Yantai University, with Tsinghua University, with the Internet Research Center, and with which we have signed a scientific cooperation agreement. Also with the University of Liuzhou, we have had an intense exchange activity, especially of students who have participated in our 2 editions of summer school. These are some of our activities we are spending the last 2 years.
Yeah, thank you. Anna, there's been questions answered in the chat, but
yeah,
but
I saw the path of 1.5 degrees answered by Mette already. Yeah. And of course, your question in regards the New Zealand approach for Sarah. Yeah. So she answered all.
Yes. Yeah. In any case, yeah, maybe you know that Mette through Turku and through our colleagues in the cooperation IURC with Japan, we can get to, if cities are interested on how to to include a youth council in their activities, that would be great. So we can, and also with the steps of Climatorium with our team in New Zealand to get more. I don't know if maybe Sarah wants to, add a couple of, but it's probably too long. I mean, I asked about the steps because it's super interesting to get this model, but maybe it's too much to explain it here in the chat or with a micro.
Sarah, at least.
Yeah, sorry, I had to start to the car to get into another meeting, but I can briefly say, I think it's more like case by case. We are ready to roll it out to others, but I guess it depends on the circumstances and the place. But it's more a matter of starting the communication and to then identify the challenges, a little bit the same of what you're doing, and then to have a project manager each place to just keep a dialogue. So it's something we're very happy to engage in conversation. But yeah, it probably is a bit of a longer explanation to say now and exactly how to do it.
No worries, Sarah. We will use the pairings and the clusters to enrich this dialogue and to improve. And just to focus and to extend those learnings that you have already from your past experience to the new cities also and regions that have joined our program. So I think that will be enough for today, and we will continue with the clusters and with the pairings. Thanks a lot, Sarah, and thanks to all. Thanks a lot. So I believe we ran out of time, so I'm just going to thank everyone joining this table, especially Samuel, Sier, Mete, Sarah, Flavio, and Patrick. And of course, all of you on the other side of the screen who have been very interactive. So thank you all. So right now, let's move on. But just to have in mind that I think these valuable shared experiences and lessons learned, hopefully they will continue optimizing the added value of international cooperation through our program, producing a major network for European businesses, including schools, as you mentioned, universities, but also the private sector, which for sure will be very relevant in those pilot actions and on those tangible results that hopefully we'll get before we end this phase of the program. And talking about networking, I hope to see you all in the following breakout rooms. Now I would like to pass the floor to our colleague Anthony, who may explain how this will work. See you there, and thanks a lot.
And thank you, Anna. Fantastic. And those wishes indeed warmly seconded by me, and I'm sure everyone else present, that we'll all be engaging really, really strongly together over the next couple of years. Now it's time for those of you who are getting into it to get a bit more interactive. We're going to chat to each other in some breakout sessions. So there are 3 rooms available. The first room is the ecological transition and the Green Deal. We've got interpretation there in Chinese and Japanese. If you want to be part of room 1, you just stay where you are. Don't go anywhere. So just remain in this room. So easy peasy for you. Room 2 is on urban regional renewal and social cohesion with interpretation in Chinese and Vietnamese. And if you want to go to room 2, just click the appropriate link. It should be there in the chat right now for room 2. Then room 3, it's on innovative, sustainable and carbon neutral ecosystems and strategic sectors with interpretation in Chinese. And again, you can see the link to room 3 in the chat there. Now, you've already been asked to state a preference with regard to rooms, but you're totally free to choose now. So for room 1, just stay here, don't move. Room 2, you can see the link in the chat. And for room 3, there's another link in the chat. So just click onto the room that you want to be a part of. It's going to be absolutely super. You'll be totally engaged with each other and have a chance to express all of the ideas and sentiments that have been welling up in you over the last couple of hours. So I think we're all really, really looking forward to that. And I'd like to just thank you all again for joining us and excited for the years ahead.